What's going on, true believers? Welcome to another episode of One Shot. I am your host, Jacob, and this video is coming out a little bit later because I've got a massive stack here to go over. Double my DC books. I got my DC books from last week. I picked them up this week. So I'll be going over both of those. Plus, a few issues that I had missed previously. Came in. I had ordered them through the comic shop. So, massive stack. Let's get right into it. First things first, one that I had missed, Unborn, issue number 2, as well as issue number 3. That cover is fantastic. I absolutely love it. It's been so long since I read the first issue. I was having a hard time kind of remembering what this was about, but this was kind of like a Power Rangers meets Starship Troopers meets the Alien franchise. It's different, but you know what? It's right up my alley. This group of people has now been whittled down to about 2 people in 3 issues. Definitely, right now, it started out that kind of Power Rangers and Starship Troopers vibe, but right now, it's getting more to that Aliens kind of vibe. Like, they're hunting this one thing, and even maybe a little Pacific Rim thrown in there. Kind of go hunting for the nest or whatever. But I like this series. I can see where this one wouldn't be for everybody, but this one's right up my alley. Some of my favorite franchises kind of mixed together. Another back issue that I kind of missed was The Search for Who number 2. But I also picked up, since it came out, number 3. So we're following this guy who's his mom is related to one of the gangs over in China, and she gets attacked. So he's over there kind of seeking revenge. This story is really well done. Like, we're kind of getting flashbacks to his military career alongside of some of the things that he's currently doing. And he seems to be kind of better prepared than the actual gang leaders for some things that are happening. The action is really well done in this book. Like, the artwork is fantastic. And I'm enjoying the story so far. Devil's Reign, issue number 1. So, I've been collecting the Chip Zdarsky Daredevil series, but I have not been reading it, I know. I've heard good things. I love Chip Zdarsky's writing, and I figured I'd start reading this book here. He does write this book. And I thought, wow, this is really good. Kingpin is the mayor of New York, and he is kind of had it with superheroes. So he's going on a quest, if you will, to end the superhero reign in New York City, which we've seen done before, but and they allude to that, like, we've seen this kind of thing before, and it didn't turn out well. But not to spoil too much, so if you're not into spoilers, you're ready to read this book, I'll give you a second to skip ahead or something. But Mayor Fisk, in the end of the book, is putting in his bid for the presidency, it seems like. So, are we going to see President Fisk? Who knows? That this has been a phenomenal read. The artwork is really good. I'm excited to see more from this series. Captain America and Iron Man, issue number 1. Now, I'm not usually too too big on these kind of team up books here. They usually, I don't know, they don't usually hit very well with me. But this one was not bad. We get to see Tony Stark being the degenerate that he was, and then kind of bringing things into more modern times. And there's somebody that he knows that he kind of got into a place of power with Shield, and she was a Hydra agent. Wound up being like a Hydra leader, I think, at one point. But they're kind of tracking her down. Captain America is almost acting like Tony's sidekick in this one. But the artwork is great. The banter is good. It's classic. And I'll continue reading this one to see where it heads. Crossover, issue number 10. I thought this one was absolutely amazing. So it wasn't exactly like continuation of the story so much as we're learning more, like, and it's a little kind of, I don't know, it's more banter to other comic book writers and artists and things. They brought in a few comic book creators. They drew them in, and they're actually playing themselves, and they're talking to some of their creations, and it was rather interesting. And then they even said this is going to be like the least surprise thing in the book. They've been alluding to it for a while, but Donny Cates definitely is, I'll use the word confident enough to draw himself in his own title, and he is a character in this book and possibly a mastermind. I guess we're gonna have to find out and read more. But this issue was fantastic. It definitely brought me back in, because it had kind of hit that sophomore slump for me. But that was pretty cool. The Human Target, book 2. So this one's kind of like a leisurely stroll. Like, this guy's not got long to live, but he's just kind of, he's trying to figure out who poisoned him, but at the same time it's kind of like a leisurely walk to find out. We're learning more about his character and how he's able to plan some of the things that he is. And he's brought in, a woman is brought in. I'm not too familiar with like some of the more subtle characters from the Justice Leagues, like the offshoot Justice Leagues, but I think what they call her, Ice or something. I can't remember her name. But the artwork in this book is amazing. It's that classic-y, pulpy, spy novel style artwork. It's fantastic. And you know what? It's paced, slower, but sometimes you just need that slower paced book with decent art and good writing. And this one is it for me. Basilisk, number 5. I feel like so much has happened and it's only been 5 issues. We're learning more about how some of these powers are working. In previous issues, I keep forgetting her name, but the main character, one of her friends that was in the group of bad guys was killed, and we're learning that his powers have passed on to her. The woman that's out for revenge against this group that's dragging her around, we're learning more about her backstory and things like that. This one's kind of like a slower book. It's been a minute since the other book came out, so it's kind of reintroducing some things in there. But overall, this story's been really good. I almost wish it was a little faster, but at the same time, I kind of want to savor it, So it's right there. It's in a good spot. Basilisk. The Silver Coin, number 7. This one was like right up there with that first issue for me. We're in Vegas. This guy wins the coin in the slots, and it sends him on a winning streak, which gets him noticed by the management. They comp his room. He's just having like a massive orgy and stuff. But at the same time, they're tying it into the Aztec culture where they would sacrifice people at the top of a pyramid. This new casino is done in the Aztec pyramid style. So they're alluding to, the way the Aztecs did things where they would sacrifice someone. They would basically give them the time of their life right before they killed them, because it was an honor thing, to save the world. And that's kind of what's happening to it in modern day. Fantastic story. I'm super, super happy with this one. Silver Coin 7. And just a crazy read. The Soul Plumber, issue 3 of 6. I'm just like, every time I read this book, I'm like, man, do I want to continue reading this book? And then I read it, and I'm like, yeah, I want to continue reading it. The artwork is gross. The story is just kind of what is happening. But man, it's just, I don't know. It's very reminiscent of like cartoons that I used to watch back in the 90s, But at the same time, it's way more over the top than those. This kid thinks he's on a quest to do good for God, and it's just like turning into a whole mess, and it's getting the attention of some leaders in higher places, and I don't know if they're happy with him or not. They seem to be trying to open portals to other dimensions, so we'll see what happens there. This book is it's just insane. Like, I can't even describe to you some of the things that happen to this. Like the being that came from another universe, he wants to try to, act more human. So instead of like taking over a human's body, he decides to build his own. So he rips the arms off of one guy, the head off of another, the torso, the legs off of a woman, and builds his own body. It's just that kind of insanity. It's crazy, but it keeps me interested. And now we're into the Batmanathon, starting with Dark Knights of Steel. Previous issue, Jor-El has been killed by Green Lantern and Green Arrow. This issue, Superman is angry. He's just yelling at everybody. Batman goes out to hunt down the Green Arrow, captures him, and we find out that they have a bunch of metahumans in their dungeon. They have something against people with powers. Nobody's allowed to have powers except them, apparently. And there's another kingdom out there that has powers, and they see them as a threat. So they're kind of going to go to war. Wonder Woman and Superman's sister are apparently lovers in this. Whatever, who cares? But the story overall is pretty good. That was just kind of something thrown in at the end. It was weird. But the story was good. The artwork is great, and I love the setting. Just something different, something older but newer. I know I'm not the greatest at describing things, but that's just how my brain works. But yeah, this series has been really good, and I'm excited to keep going with it. Batman 89, issue number 4. Like I said, I thought this was going to be the big series. And then I just happened to pick up the Superman 78, and it was so much better than this. This one's still decent. This is going to be the Robin of the series. I actually really like the costume done in this book. But it seems to be more that this is Robin's show as opposed to Batman. I don't know. It's okay. Not the greatest. They kind of force a team up, and it's kind of like, yeah, you're going to be working for me, Batman type thing. But I don't know. It's good. It's okay, you know. And Arkham City, The Order of the World, Arkham City. This book, I was so confused for like the first couple issues of what is going on. This issue is where it kind of blossomed for me. The Ten-Eyed Man has knowledge of things that nobody else would ever see, but at the same time he still speaks in weird riddles and things like that. He can apparently understand what Solomon Grundy is talking about, which, if you know anything about Solomon Grundy, he only speaks that poem of Solomon Grundy, Born on a Monday. But the really cool thing was, like, the Ten-Eyed Man drew the floor plan of Arkham over top of a map of Gotham, and where the residents of Arkham, after the Joker blew up Arkham, escaped to, corresponds with where their rooms were in Arkham on the map of Gotham. It was insane. It's crazy. No one would ever think of that, but man, and he knew, the Ten-Eyed Man somehow knows Solomon Grundy's whole back history. It's insane. I enjoyed it. I love learning history, you know, the histories of the lesser characters that people know about. And just, you know, fun little things like that map situation. This is the issue that brought me in, and I'm excited to read more. And now, not only do we get into Batman stuff, but annuals. Now, I know most people stay away from the annuals, and I know why. I still read these just because, and I would recommend, unless you're really into a character or the story, don't bother with annuals. They're just kind of one-shot stories based in the timeline or the universe of the book that they're on. And there's the Robin Annual, and it kind of takes place before issue number 6. Just a little side story of, you know, who are some of these characters and where was Damian during a certain period of time. That's all this one was. The Joker Annual. This is a kind of a one-shot backstory of, you know, something, you know, an incident that was going down in Gotham City during Commissioner Gordon's time. So nothing pertaining to the story, really. Nightwing, Red Hood. This one was pretty good, but again, nothing really pertaining to the Nightwing story. I did enjoy seeing the kind of brotherhood between Robins and previous Robins and things like that. I thought that was really good. But again, not pertaining to any story. And then there was Batman Annual. This one interested me a little bit more. Not so much because it was a good story or anything, but in the back of some of the previous Batman issues, there was a Ghostmaker backup story that I was reading a little bit, and this is the conclusion to that. Again, nothing to do with the Batman story, just a conclusion to a backup story. And then Batman 118. Now, I love James Tynion, his writing and everything, but like I've been saying, he has not been doing Batman justice for me. He is not writing this book. There's a guy, Williamson, who wrote this one. The artwork in this one is so much better. The writing for Batman is so much better. I really, really enjoyed this book. I haven't been enjoying the Batman series for a while. This one got me right back into it, and I'm so, so happy they're doing it again. I got that feeling with Spider-Man as well, but this, I'm so happy Batman is back. I hope they continue writing like this, and the artwork is fantastic, absolutely amazing. And then I picked up a back issue because I just happened to find this. A Sharky, the Bounty Hunter #1 by Mark Millar. I had heard that he has sold, this out to Netflix, I believe. So, I mean, for cover price, for a potential Netflix show, why not? Could go up in price. And then in the dollar bin, what did I find? I found Pit #1. I've been looking for one, not too hard. I really didn't want to pay too much for a copy of it, because there really is no reason to. It's probably not going to be anything big, like on a series or anything, but I just wanted a copy of it. It's Image's version of the Hulk. I like the Hulk, and I like Image Comics a lot more. So for $1, I was happy. Great condition. But yeah, that's all I got for you today. If you like what you saw, leave me a like down below. Leave me a comment. Anything. What are you reading? What should I be reading? Do you like the annuals? Do you not like the annuals? Me personally, they're just okay one-shots. But yeah, if you got any friends that like comics, like comic book reviews, share this with them, and subscribe. I'm trying to grow this channel, and maybe a few more things will come out of it. Maybe some giveaways if we get big enough. Who knows? But yeah, thanks for stopping by. See you next week for another episode of One Shot. And as always, have a good day.